In this video, we're going to go over getting a data science job. So we've gone through all the other videos that gave you a understanding of the data science field, the marketplace, what exactly a data scientist is, what they do, right? The different skills that are involved. And so now we want to go over how to get a data science job, right? Because this course is really getting you prepared for the marketplace, for you to either go out there and be a freelancer, a consultant, if you want to work with clients, or if you want to go out there and get a job, then this is going to be, how you go about it here and what really employers and recruiters are looking for, right? So let's go ahead and jump into getting a data science job. Okay, so ultimately what you want to understand here, it's a numbers game, okay? Because if you are not out there, submitting applications, looking for different jobs, and really on the hunt for new positions, right? Obviously, after you take this course and you become an expert, in the data science field and you're out there actually applying, if you don't, understand that this is a numbers game and you got to put out a decent amount of applications and understand that there's actually only going to be a small percentage of them that get back to you, then if you don't understand that, you're going to have a very hard time, right? You're going to have some trouble here because if you think that you're going to submit 2 to 3 applications, 4 or 5 applications, and you're done and you're good, then that's going to be pretty much what leads to a lot of people not getting the expected result that they're looking for, right? So in order for you to be able to really maximize your ability to get a job, right, and to have somebody maybe take a flyer on you, if maybe you don't have the experience that they're looking for, or maybe you don't have, a lot of the skills that they're looking for, but if you're able to, present yourself in a certain way, differentiate yourself, and build a perception around you and your brand, which you're going to learn in this course as well, then you're going to have a hard time with, this particular area here. But really expect to see about 10 to 15% of the applications that you fill out to actually get back to you. So, let's say 100 applications, right? You're really only going to see 10 to 15 of those actually get back to you. And you may be thinking, well, that's very low. Why is that so low? Well, the thing is, you got to understand that, sometimes some companies are very strict. They want to make sure you check off all the boxes. If you don't have a degree, if you don't have this, if you don't have that, then you just automatically get thrown out. And also understand that a lot of these, applications are now being gone through and read through AI and machine learning. What that means is that you're not having somebody who's an actual individual person look at your resume. There's algorithms now that are looking for keywords, that are looking for certain things that you must have on your resume. And if you don't have those, regardless of your background, of your experience, then you're not going to get to the next stage, right? It's often where you submit an application and after it's been reviewed by a couple algorithms, right, then it gets to an actual person, right? But you got to pass that initial criteria. Just think about when you are, let's say submitting an application for like a credit card or, something online where they pre-qualify you and then you can know within a minute or two whether you're qualified, right? There's not somebody that's actually looking at your application. It's all through a algorithm. It's going through, it's looking at your information. It's looking at, everything that you put in there to make sure you meet the criteria. And if you do, then they get sent over to an actual person to verify and review everything, right? So think about this, understand it. It's going to be a little bit of a grind. And ultimately, with just like anything in life, you can think about it as a numbers game because, just think about it from a personal perspective of you, going out there looking for a mate, right? If you talk to more people, then you're going to get a lot of rejections, but you're also going to find a few people that actually, get to know you more. Same thing with friends, right? It's all about you going out there, and if you don't ask, if you don't submit applications, then you're not going to get what you're looking for. So ultimately think about it this way. If you don't ask, you don't get, okay? So I know I went into a little bit of a rant there, but it's really important to have the expectation that, what, I'm going to submit a lot of applications and I'm going to get a lot of rejection, and I'm only going to get a small percentage of people that come back to me and actually want to learn more about me. And that's okay. It's all just a game. It's a process, right? And when you can go into it understanding that, it's going to change, how you actually see it, right? So understand that you're going to face a rejection and that you must be able to learn from each interview. Let's say that you go through a couple interviews, and let's say that for whatever reason you just didn't make the cut. You want to be able to email the actual interviewer or the recruiter or whatever that may be and ask them, hey, I'm curious, I really appreciate you taking the time. I'm curious, why is it, or what exactly was it that in my skill set that you didn't find or didn't meet your criteria, right? So oftentimes they'll tell you and will say, hey, well, we felt that you could have done better here, or we felt that we're looking for somebody more experienced in this area, whatever that may be, right? Oftentimes getting feedback from the actual interviewers is going to be extremely helpful, right? And that's why it's important to really practice your responses, so that when you're going in there and they ask you a question that is behavioral, right, and it's not technical, because oftentimes, I'm pretty sure for the most part, you're going to be obviously technically savvy. You're going to be able to understand, machine learning, deep learning, right, programming, all these different technical terms, and be able to easily explain them. However, when you get questions that are very behavioral, or when you got questions like, tell me about yourself, if you don't have like a pitch laid out, if you don't have something that's like an elevator speech or whatever, right? And if you don't practice your responses to these questions, you're going to have a hard time. You're going to have an extremely hard time, because if you do not, go through and understand what is required of you, and you practice the questions that you're going to be asking you, and you practice your responses, then you're going to go into the interview and you're going to be on your heels, right? You're going to be on your back foot, versus being grounded, where you understand that you have the skill set, you're knowledgeable, you've practiced your responses, and so nothing that they can throw you is going to be a curveball, right? And so the recruiter is your best friend. They really want you to be able to get the job, because oftentimes they are compensated that way, right, by how many people they bring in. And then if you're also dealing with like a recruiting agency where they get a percentage of your actual salary, you're not going to see that, but it's like 5, 10, I don't know the numbers, but they get paid essentially when they place people. So they want you to get the job. So trust them and ask a lot of questions, right? Ask about what kind of behavioral questions do they ask, right? Do you have the actual questions, right, that they're going to be asking you? And if they can tell you what kind of behavioral questions, make sure you're writing them down, you're studying them as far as the responses that you have for them, because again, those that are the most prepared are going to have the most success. So prepare yourself for success and expect it, right? And one of the things here to keep in mind is that oftentimes people are more interested in how you solve problems, right, and how you come to certain conclusions than your actual technical knowledge, right? Because they want to see how you're approaching things. They want to see how you go about it. What's your methodology for coming to a conclusion, coming to an endpoint, coming to an outcome, right? So very important there to understand and go into the interview thinking and understanding and knowing that, hey, a lot of times they're going to be more interested in how I solve problems. And so if I can show them that I know how to solve problems in a very methodical way, and I have a process and a system, then they're going to be able to use that and leverage that to be able to help me get hired. Because ultimately understand that the people that are, the interviewers, they don't want to go through 20 or 100 interviews. They want to find the best possible, individual for that position. And so when you can make their job easier, and so when they can see that you have the knowledge, the skills, but also the ability to be able to solve problems in a very methodical way, then they're going to give you a lot of points for that. Okay, so understand that and acknowledge and really use that to your advantage, so that you can be prepared to be able to answer, different technical questions and behavioral questions in a very methodical way. Okay. And so you may know a ton about algorithms, machine learning, Python, all these different technical, programming languages and technical terms. And yet what's equally important is your ability to answer questions about how you solve problems or how you would tackle a situation, right? So if somebody asks you a question around, how would you build an algorithm, or how would you come to an XYZ conclusion based off, XYZ data set or XYZ data, right? Whatever that may be. They want to be able to see step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, right? The first thing I would do is X. After that, I would do, step 2, XYZ. And then after that, I would do XYZA. Notice how I'm explaining things in a very logical, sequential, methodical way. And that's how you want to be, because that is what is really important for this particular type of position. It's not only having the technical skills, but being able to attack problems in a very precise manner. Now, as you go through this course and after you complete it and you go through all the material, you're going to have the necessary skills that employers are looking for, right? So that is the benefit, the bonus of you being able to take this class, this course here. You're going to be able to have those skills that the individual employers are looking for, right? And understand that skills alone are not going to get the job done unless potential employers can see what you've done and that you're someone that stands out from the crowd, right? And we're going to walk through in the data science career section of this course so many different ways that you can stand out from the crowd by building a brand, setting up a website, getting a portfolio set up, getting a project set up, all these different things that you're going to be able to do to really position yourself as the go-to expert in your field and set you apart from the competition, right? And so one of the things with that is having a very strong online presence, right? With the website, the portfolio, a GitHub profile, a blog, also a Kaggle profile, where you're really showcasing your interest, your passions, and your proficiency in data science, right? Because just imagine if somebody can look at your resume and then look you up online and they see you have a website, you have a GitHub portfolio, you have projects on there, you have your interest, your passion, and versus somebody else who has also a resume, but they don't have any of that, right? So think about just how much more interested the company is going to be in you and how you're going to set yourself apart, right? So very much so important there to understand how you can set yourself apart by being able to have all of these different online presence, elements, right? Which you're going to be able to learn how to do in this course. And I want to reiterate here the fact that people are oftentimes more interested in how you solve problems and how you deal with specific situations rather than your technical knowledge. I mean, this is something that is extremely important. I wanted to harp on this a little bit more because, so many people out there have the skills, they have the understanding, the knowledge, but if you can't express to others, convey how you come across as far as tackling problems, issues, situations, specific, matters that happen, right? If you can't convey that to the interviewer or to, individuals, then you're going to have a hard time with getting a, data science job or really getting any kind of clients, because you want to be able to showcase your problem solving skills in a very methodical manner. And so at a minimum, I'd recommend having a website and a portfolio with GitHub that showcases your, work experience and perhaps some kind of portfolio, right? And so having something online is going to be extremely important for you, especially now in today's digital age, where if you don't have a website, if you don't have like a, portfolio or something online that showcases your work or that is, showcasing something about you, then you are essentially not being able to set yourself apart from those that are actually, having a website or some kind of profile. So at a minimum, I would say having the website, a very simple website, and you're going to learn how to set that up here in this course. And then also in a simple GitHub profile that showcases some of your experience as well. Okay, so let's talk about the interview process. I want to be able to give you an understanding here of what you can expect when you're going into an interview, right? So let's say that you have gone through this course, you understand how to be able to, leverage machine learning, deep learning, right? Data science with Python, and you're an expert in the field now, right? So you've submitted your application, you've gone through, and they want to learn more about you. They want to, do a formal interview, right? And so this is essentially walking you through as far as how this is going to work, right? The process here. So the interview process typically involves 3 steps. Number 1, it's going to be a simple phone screen with a technical recruiter to assess your interest in the position and previous experience. Sometimes they'll ask you some technical questions throughout the interview. Sometimes they'll just ask you, to talk about a little bit about yourself and your background, right? And then number 2, next is a technical assessment. So this is really giving the employer an understanding of your technical aptitude, right? So how well you do in this is really going to set the tone for whether or not you are going to get another interview. And so how you do here is really going to set up the next step. And so next step is going to be an in-person or Zoom meeting with 3 to 6 people asking behavioral technical questions. So this is where you're going to have typically like a data scientist, an HR person, maybe somebody in the networking space, right? Network engineers, and maybe like a software engineer. So 3 to 6 different people, right? They're going to be asking you various technical things, various technical questions, and also the behavioral questions. So that's why it's important for you to be able to go through this course, understand all the material, the technical, aptitude, and also the ability for you to be able to answer the behavioral questions. And remember, practice them. Understand and you really research, what kind of questions can you expect to be asked, right, in a technical interview for a data scientist or for a software engineer or whatever that may be, right? Whatever type of position you're looking to get after taking this course, right? And you can easily just Google, hey, what questions are asked for a data scientist job, right? So very easy for you to find out the type of behavioral questions and for you to be able to create responses to those questions, right? And so here's the thing. Interviewers are looking for 3 things at a very high level. They're looking for you to have the necessary skills to succeed in the role, right? And then number 2, they're looking for you to get along with the rest of the team, how you fit into the culture, right? Are you a good fit? Would you work well within, the actual team of individuals that are currently in place, right? Or are you maybe somebody who wouldn't work well, right? Whatever that may be. And then number 3, that you're excited about the company's mission and vision, right? So when you start off any type of phone interview, right, that you're maybe getting started in the very beginning, you always want to sound excited about the company, about the mission, about the vision, because that's really where you can make an impact there into how they see you. Because if you come in with a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of energy, where you're like, man, I just love what you guys are about, what you guys are doing, I love what you guys have been, building for the last, whatever, how many years the company's been, in place, right? So very much so important for you to be able to convey your excitement and show your enthusiasm within all of these different stages. But this is going to be the typical interview process, right? Just like I mentioned, it's going to start out with a phone screen, and then you're going to go into a technical assessment, and then you're going to go into typically a Zoom or in-person meeting with the individuals asking you behavioral and technical questions, right? And so understand ultimately that the recruiters, right, the individuals that are looking to, actually make the decision to hire you are looking for these 3 things, right? Making sure you have the skills, you get along with the team, or you can get along with the team, and that you're excited about the opportunity and the company, right? So that's going to be here for this one, and we'll see you on the next one.